extensive study of Nile Valley civilization, Egypt, Nubia, etc. Why should African scholars study Nile Valley civilization?
Yeah, for many reasons, you see. Because, of course, we don't... our history now is kind of a tribal history. You have tribes, you have ethnicity, something like that. Akan der Akan, Yoruba der Yoruba, Igbo der Yoruba, Igbo, Yoruba, Zulu der Zulu, Hausa. So it's kind of a tribal consciousness. So it's difficult to build a state with many tribes when their consciousness is not African consciousness, or let's say Nigeria consciousness, but just Hausa consciousness, Igbo consciousness, Yoruba consciousness, Ongoni consciousness, you see. You don't do like that. So this is why we must build African consciousness. To go back to African history. So when we go back to African history, we have Western great kingdoms and empire, Ghana, Mali, Songhai, and then we have also Ashanti in Gulf of Guinea, Ashanti, Baoulé, all these things, Yoruba, Benin, and until everywhere we go to Angola, to South Africa, Zimbabwe, everywhere we have kingdoms, empire, long time before colonization. But when you go further again, you find Nubia, you find Aksum in Ethiopia, you find Kemet, what you call Nile Valley civilization, ancient Egypt. So that belongs to us. So it's not just my tribe or my West Africa or my Central Africa. It's also the Nile Valley, it belongs to us. But since it's the oldest part of our heritage, and is beautiful too, we must recognize. So, and now they're almost dead. So it belongs to all of us. It's not a tribal heritage. It belongs to all African people in the world, not just on the continent, but in the world, because it's there now. It belongs to us. We don't know which tribe, but we know they were African people. So it belongs to all of us. And since it was great civilization, so we decide, it's our decision. So we decide to make that as the ground of African humanities, African studies. They did the same. There is no connection between Sweden, British people. There is no connection between them and Greece. You see, there is no connection between Irish people and Roman people. There is no connection whatsoever. So why Western civilization, they believe that they decide in the 14th century, 15th and 16th century, they decide what you call a Renaissance, that Greece and Rome, these antiquities, are the foundation of Western, of Europe, consciousness, of European history. It was decision. So they say it's the classical studies. They decide. It became their humanities. Because they have a church, the Bible heritage, Judeo-Christian heritage, but they have also Greek-Roman heritage. It's part of their being. So they decide. We do almost this. We don't copy. We have the same logic, I will say. This is why, for us, Nile Valley civilization, Aksum, Nubia, and Kemet are part of our, the ground, the bedrock of our heritage. And we decide this is the foundation of what you call Black studies, African studies, African American studies. This is the foundation. And this is different from Africanist, Eurocentrist. They want just to stay in a tribal level. You see, all these Western scholars, you see, we call them Africanists. They want just to say, to describe tribes. They never tell about so it's kind of to have that in mind. The idea built long time ago by David Hume, Montesquieu, Kant, Hegel, that we are primitive people, something like that. This is anthropology view. So we don't deal with that anthropology. We are able to study ourselves by ourselves. We don't need nobody to tell us our ancestry. It's over now. This kind of a colonization. Decolonization is a political decolonization, is economical decolonization, is also intellectual decolonization. Somebody tell you your history, you are not free. So you must write your history. British people doesn't wait French to tell them about Arthur. They do themselves. French people, they don't wait for Italian to tell their history. United States, they don't want Canada or Mexican to write their history. They do themselves. Chinese, they do the same. Why us? Why we must wait some British people, some French people, and to tell us our history? It's a kind of a colonization. This must be over. If not, will be never a renaissance.
Right. Thank you. Now, Dr. Obenga, the Meru Net